So my assembly profile is just more attuned to the things that relate to assembly. So the assignment board is driven by whatever you would like to drive it. So it could be the department, it could be specific employees, it could be specific employees and resources. So as you can see, I've got different resources down the side, whereas when we're doing servicing, we're not necessarily going to have other resources down the side. I'm looking at assembly number 89 over here. I want to go and put that into production. So one of the things I can do is actually move the whole thing and place it onto the board and create multiple assignments. So that's one method of doing it. Or another method could have been is that I could assign from the step resources and it would have assigned it all over the place. So you can do multiple different ways of assigning, assuming that you've got the routing steps set up in your bill of materials and you've got the resources that you use set up also in your bill of materials. It will just throw it up onto the board based on that. So yeah, so that's there. You can assign from the step resource, or you can just throw it up on the board like you saw me do, and it will just allocate it based on that. Okay. As we move through, we can then drop into Freeway. So Freeway, what I'm going to show you now is how we can issue to an assembly. So this is Bob. He's got an assembly, and what he wants to do is keep track of what's going on with the assembly. So part of that is to look at what he's got available to him, and you can see he's got all these different steps from the assembly number 89. So if we look at that, essentially we can take the cutting section and go, what do we actually want to do? So I'm going to do some assembly issues. It looks at what step you're in, which is the cutting step. We can go look at what needs to be picked, and then all we need to do is click on the scan button. This is designed for scanning, but because I'm running the emulator, I can't really do that. But I'll show you what the manual version is. So you can still use a device without a scanner. It just assumes that you have your picked information here, and I can just click on picked. It actually does a live refresh for the system. It's working out where it needs to take it from and what those quantities might be. And then I can accept those quantities. And then it also looks at how many I need here. It's assumed that the quantity that I need is the quantity that I've picked. Obviously you can override that and accept that as well. As each one is picked, it live refreshes because it's going, well, there's nothing else left to be picked now. And I can then finish that. I can move to say, show me what's been picked. Okay. I can update the assembly tracking code if need to say that maybe that step is now complete, and then I complete the data sheet. And then that will load that straight into the system once that's completed the sheet. Now the other thing you might want to do is be able to actually do a full receipt of the actual assembly. So it's a similar process, but you might, for example, be doing the QA section, and then other than your time, you could do an actual assembly receipt on the completion of those goods coming through. So as you come in, it's basically just updating. Once again, same process. We're receipting in the goods, okay? But in this case, this item is batch related, so I actually need to issue it with its batch number at this point. Quantity is 1. And then that finishes the process. I then complete my sheet and load that in. Now you might be asking, well, there was a number of other steps there that Michael hadn't created, hadn't actually issued against. Now, if you have assembly rules set to stop assembly receipt if issues remain, then it will stop you at that point of receipt and actually won't complete the sheet. So please be mindful that even though you're running Freeway and you're in the mobile environment, but you're still in the workshop, it will still hold Ostendo's process logic and not allow you to receipt those goods in if there's receipts still in the system to be done if you have that rule set.